Welcome, everyone. Despite what you may have heard, as beautiful as the weather is, it's not like this all the time in Hanover. In February, it does tend to get chillier. It dips a little below the 60s, just a little. I am the manager of the Student Employment Office, and my name is Todd Kilburn, and I will be here as well afterwards, so you're welcome to come chat with me. And we are here to discuss the issues related to students and student employment. Our Student Employment Office is really designed to meet two kinds of needs for students and jobs. The first is to help students who are interested in working to try to help meet their expenses. The second is to help students who are interested in having some work experience that will prepare them for their future careers. The key that we really would like parents and students to know is that we are available to all students, not just financial aid students, not just students who have to work. We stand by to assist and to help any student who is interested in finding a job somewhere on campus. And so the question arises, why should students work? I mean, ideally, as parents, we often think we'd really like our students not to work, to just focus on their academics. But there are some valid reasons that students should work. Here's a couple of them. Work provides opportunities to explore some career paths. As students look at what they want to do, working may give them the opportunity to do some of that before they continue on with a major and find out later on in life maybe it's not what they want to do. If they're interested in research, then students can take a job in research and find out if it's something that they really enjoy. Work also helps develop know-how skills. A gentleman named Bill Copeland from Syracuse University has written a book, 10 Things Employers Want You to Learn in College. It's available through Amazon. And what he talks about in that book is developing not just the academic piece, but developing know-how skills like how to work with people, how to motivate others, how to problem solve in the midst of a crisis. Those are important things for which employers are looking, and work provides students opportunity to learn that. Work helps your student with expenses. And let's face it, in our economy, we want our students to help out as much as possible, whether it be we want them to have a few extra dollars for going out with their friends to actually working toward helping with tuition. The work gives options for that as well. And lastly, work allows students to interact with people in the community with whom they might not otherwise become acquainted. We have had some students who have worked in different scenarios. One in particular comes to mind. She worked through the work-study program in a community service organization and helped develop a farmer's market here in Hanover. And she had been studying farming. She had been studying environmental and earth sciences. It was one thing to study farming in the classroom. It became a completely new thing to her when she went out into the community and actually started talking with farmers. So work can provide students this opportunity to meet people in the community that they might not otherwise have the opportunity to meet. Now that leads us to, well, how much work is too much? We don't want our students to get overwhelmed. We don't want them to get exhausted. So how much work should they do? Well, the key to remember is that every student has distinctive needs. Many students on campus work somewhere in the 10 to 20 hour a week range. That's not a magic number. If your student needs to work less than that, that's fine. But you should have some conversations with your students about that. We do, however, strongly encourage students to work no more than 20 hours a week while engaged in classes. Studies have shown that students who work in the 10 to 15 hour a week range, it has no significant impact on their GPA. As a matter of fact, some studies suggest it bumps the GPA just a little bit to work. But once you hit that 20 hour a week wall, the GPA begins to plummet. And so we really encourage students not to work any more than 20 hours a week while they're enrolled. But we encourage them to regularly evaluate their commitments and adjust their hours. If you're talking to your students and they're feeling overwhelmed, encourage them to have a conversation with their employer. All of our campus employers, they understand that they're working with students whose primary responsibility is to get an education. But they want the students to stay in contact with them, to share with them any struggles or difficulties that they might have. So what kinds of jobs are available? As of last Friday, the last time I checked, we had 2,550 student employees this academic year. There are a lot of jobs available. And I've just listed some here. Lots of students want to work at the library because there's a perception out there that if they work at the library, they can study and get paid for it. Doesn't always work quite that way. They actually expect them to do something for their pay. But there are jobs like Dartmouth Dining Services. I just found out last week that one of Dartmouth's great alumni, Jeff Immelt, the CE of General Electric, used to work in Dartmouth Dining Services. So there are lots of opportunities on campus: athletics, Dartmouth Child Care. They can work in academic departments. The Tucker Foundation has some community service kinds of positions that are available. There are all kinds of options for them out there. And so we would encourage them, if they're not sure what to do or where to look, they can certainly come in and talk to us for some of the on-campus jobs. There are also community service jobs, most of which are available through the work-study program. If your student has work-study as part of their financial aid package, there are community service jobs at places like the Montshire Museum, the Hanover Area Chamber of Commerce. There's just a lot of jobs available for students out there. And so we want to be able to help them find the job that might intrigue them. So where do students find jobs? How do they go about it? We have, through our website, Student Employment Office, JobNet. Let me see if I can get that to work. It's not going to work. But if you go to our website, there's a place called JobNet. And it has a list of all the jobs that we have on campus. We don't have a secret closet of jobs. We don't have anything else out there. You know, like when you go to the clothing store and you look and it's not in your size and you say, hey, is there one of those in the back room in my size? We don't have any jobs in the back room, but there is JobNet that is available for students. We have a number of different kinds of positions that are available. It tells them how to apply, because we want to encourage students to apply directly and learn the interview experience. We don't place students. They can find the job that they're interested in, and they can apply for it right there. We also have our Temp Jobs Blitz Bulletin. It's part of our email system. We have community individuals who write in looking for child care or yard work. They're generally short-term kinds of positions. We had a person in the community last year call us and say, I'm having a family barbecue this Friday. I need a student to come work for 3 hours to do the grilling on the grill and clean up afterwards, and I will pay that student $20 an hour. And that job was gone within 45 minutes. All kinds of jobs that are available for students out there. So how can you, as a parent, help your student? I'd like to share just a few suggestions. One is allow them to have their appropriate work documentation when they get to campus. For the I-9, and that form is available online so you can see what kinds of documentation we're discussing. The I-9, most students use a passport or a driver's license with a social security card. But we have a lot of students who come into the office and say, you know, my mom and dad don't want me to have these things in my possession. And while as a parent I understand that, when they get here to campus, they need those documents to be able to work. By law, they're supposed to be able to fill out those forms within 3 days of their first day of employment. So perhaps a conversation you can have with them is how to be responsible with their documents, maybe providing them with some small locking box that they can keep important documents filed away so that they have the documentation when they get here on campus. I tell students it's a little like getting pulled over by the police for speeding, and when he says, may I see your driver's license, saying, well, I have a Xerox copy because my mom and dad really don't want me to have a copy of my driver's license. You know, officers are not real nice about that. And so we are required by law to see original documents. So help them by providing them with their documentation. Secondly, you can point them to places that they can investigate, but allow them to explore the world of employment. They may want to try something completely different. We have some students who come in who say, I spend every day thinking about my career and what I'm going to do, every day focused in class. I just want a job where I don't have to think about that, and that's okay. So allow your student to explore the world of employment. You can give them advice, but try to let them figure this thing out. And then finally, assist them with interview skills and appropriate attire. Talk to them before they get here about some interview skills. Rather than calling their employer for them, tell them, here's how you interact with an employer. Talk to them about dressing up a little bit for an interview. My favorite story is I was interviewing a student who came in a three-piece suit, hadn't seen a three-piece suit in a number of years, and flip-flops. And, parents chuckle at that. Students look at me and say, what? I don't understand. What's wrong with that? Learning those kinds of interview skills, those kinds of attire questions, that can be very helpful. And make sure they have some clothes that will help them as they go out to do some interviews. Here's my information. You can reach me at any time. My direct line is there. We're very happy to talk to students. We encourage students to come in and converse with us. We really want to help students and parents in finding the right situation for them. We're here to help you and help your students. So if they have any questions or any concerns at all, we ask that you please send them by the Student Employment Office. We're downstairs in the dining hall. They just follow the sounds of the pool table and the ping pong table, and they can usually get to us. Thank you.